Yes. When you wake up and you feel like you need a little up, when you're down and out and you need to get a little higher. If you feel like you need a blessing and you feel a little high today, welcome to the church of Cali High. Cali High. Cali High.
Welcome to Cali High, episode 57. I'm your host, Chenzo Nico, and this week our guest is Carter Reeves, the innovative singer-songwriter of the band Surfer Girl. He recently released his first single, Two, a collab with Hip Abduction, off his upcoming album Sunrise, due to be released in September. Reeves' songs embrace the feel-good aspects of surf reggae culture and at the same time can leave you thinking on a deeper level, while his catchy melodies linger in your head. His first self-titled EP, Surfer Girl, on Ineffable Records, written during the pandemic, shows his depth of talent and may end up becoming anthemic of the period with songs such as Hero, Joyride, and Bag of Bones. Carter saw his first success with the band Air right after high school, and we talk about those early beginnings in New England, as well as his move to the West Coast. He tells of getting signed to Ineffable Records and collaborations with other artists on the label, including Collie Buddz on Roots Riddim 2021 with the song Family. Reeves also talks about his musical influences and the decision to put his solo material on hold while moving forward with Surfer Girl. This is a very cool episode. Stay tuned. All right. Cali High is blessed to be here with Carter Reeves of Surfer Girl. And we're so stoked. Carter, how are you, buddy?
Dude, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming down. So, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Ooh, where to begin? I don't know, man. I grew up in New England. I grew up listening to really great music.
Massachusetts?
Yeah. I grew up outside of Boston, about 20 minutes west. So, suburban boy through and through. But I always grew up, I grew up spending my summers with my parents up in Maine. And so that's kind of where I first got connected to that beach lifestyle and just kind of, kicked back on the beach and kind of went, oh my goodness, how could I do this all day, every day?
Yeah.
And so, that's kind of synonymous with the music and the surfing and, this kind of like easy breezy, feel good stuff,
Yeah.
I never grew up listening to anything too hardcore. I definitely went through my kind of emo phase for a little bit, but it was always something feel good.
Yeah.
So I think being from New England, definitely helped to kind of set me on this path of making the music that I'm making now. But
yeah, well, it's very cool. I'm glad you're doing it.
Yeah.
So when did you start playing, singing, and writing tunes?
It's always been a weird little bit of a roller coaster of a journey because I never was classically trained on anything. I never actually really properly took lessons still to this day for anything. Tried and failed a few times, but I don't know. I always grew up just making mouth noises, just freaking being annoying and baba-booing around the house and just singing. And finally my mom was, she pulled me aside and she was just like, yo, I love you, but you're very annoying. You need to transfer this into some sort of something. So she signed me up for chorus, if I like my middle school chorus, which I hated so much. It was too bland and all this. You're learning all the keys and the tenors and the sopranos. Again, it was too rigid for me. But that was about the first kind of step seriously into music was, I think, 6th grade. Yeah, sweet.
So 6th grade, and you were taking choral?
Yeah, and again, it was just too rigid for me. But it definitely got my ears going and my my voice going, and that's kind of where I grew my singing voice. And I had played a little bit of piano in the past, but again, never really took anything too seriously. It wasn't until freshman year of high school, my best friends put together a 4-piece rock band, literally in my friend's garage. We listened to the Red Hot Chili Peppers religiously, dude. We wanted to be them so badly.
All you had to do is get 4 socks.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 4 socks, strip down, and you're good to go. But it was crazy. Yeah, I mean, so we just for a bunch of ragtag freshmen, sophomores in high school, we took it damn seriously.
Yeah.
You know, we would practice for like 5 hours a day after school, every single day.
In whose garage?
David Von Maring.
Yeah.
Shout out to David, and shout out to David's mom. More importantly, because she would just let us rock.
Yeah, my mom had to put up with that too.
Oh yeah, you know how it goes. It's just, yeah, it's relentless. Thankfully, we didn't suck that much, so like at least it was palatable to hear. But like, oh my gosh,
that's cool.
But that was what started the whole thing, and that band. That rock band in high school, you know, it was the first time I had ever taken music seriously, writing a bunch of music and writing lyrics and trying, you know?
That's cool.
And I had a lot of fun doing it, and that band was actually the start of, well, because it was a 4-piece band, and then 2 of us kind of split off, you know, once.
To make Air?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So David Von Maring was the drummer of our band. And he always had ideas. He was always spinning. He was like, you know, hey, play this on the guitar. Hey, write the music like this. Or like, hey, let's try this and try all these ideas. And it was like, dude, we just thought you were the drummer. But here he is, like, with all these genius ideas, and he's kind of starting to come out of his skin a little bit.
Yeah.
And, you know, the band didn't end up seeing eye to eye, especially because kind of college was coming up around the corner, and we were ready to just go all in on this band.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's not everybody's path in life. So David and I split off, and we did our own thing, and that's where Air came from. So
wow,
it was cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a natural kind of progression. Yeah.
Who are your musical influences besides the Chili Peppers?
Yeah, well, I hate these guys with all my heart. This is the worst band I've ever heard.
I was figuring you had some old school influence there.
Oh, dude, I mean, admittedly, I'll be honest. You know, I grew up with music in the house, so you know, I was always familiar with the Beatles, always familiar with the Stones and the Beach Boys and everybody. But it wasn't. It's not until you, as an adult or you as a listener, you decide I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna listen to that stuff. So it wasn't until maybe 5 or 6 years ago that I actually went from like 50s all the way up to the, like, you know, the 80s, and just like listen to every album of all the greats. Everybody knows the names, right? But like, do you ever actually sit down and listen to the catalog? And so finally I did. But influences, I mean, it's gotta be the Beatles, gotta be the Beach Boys. I love this new funky group out of Houston called Khruangbin.
Khruangbin.
Yeah.
It means airplane in Thai.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. They're super rad, which, you know, we can't get enough of today.
Obviously.
But they're super rad, and they kind of like, you know, I started to get into kind of the intersection of like psychedelia, retro vibes, but also just kind of like, you know, groovy like surf rock. And so like that kind of whole world really kind of stuck out to me. And moving to California, you know, driving on PCH, you just, what better music than that kind of feel good stuff. But I mean, Kid Cudi shaped me, Jack Johnson shaped me, Sublime of course shaped me.
Yeah, of course.
Slightly Stupid, big time. I was a Dirty Heads fan when I was 12. So like, you know, these are the guys that shaped, you know, my sound now and my style now. I'd say I've just spent maybe the past 10 years honing it, you know.
Yeah. Guitar influence?
Mark Spear, lead guitarist of Khruangbin. He's he just has a conversation. Like, they don't really have a lead vocalist. You know, now they're kind of trying to do vocals, but they don't have a lead vocalist. His guitar's the lead vocal. And you just hear it. You hear this conversation. You hear these melodies, and shit, I'm nowhere near being able to play like that, but that showed me a whole new style, and also opened me up into like Vietnamese rock, 60s Arabian funk, like all this crazy music that I never thought I'd listen to.
I'll have to play you my old band.
Oh, dude,
we had
please.
Thai background singers.
Oh my gosh.
We're not here to talk about them. That was Soy Cowboy.
But him, and then of course him from a lead standpoint, and then I would say, you know, the Beatles just continually blow my mind with their chord progressions. Their chord changes.
Oh my God.
How do you get from here to there? And how do you do it so smoothly?
I know.
So I'll sit down, I'll try and study those, you know. They've been a huge influence. So.
Yeah. Beatles are amazing.
It's a little hard to fit in all those C major 7 to a dominant 5th with a minor 9th, all that shit. It's a little hard to fit that into like a reggae groove, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes
the
a little
3-chord reggae groove.
a little too overcomplicated, but you know.
But the Beatles chord changes were
top notch,
incomparable.
And same with Beach Boys.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian Wilson,
Brian
he
Wilson,
used to study, you know, Bach, and he would study Mozart.
Yeah.
And that's how he would make his chord progressions. It's just like, damn, dude, that's far out. It's cool.
So, is Surfer Girl kind of a concept?
Yeah.
And who are they? I mean, you got a band, right?
Yeah. You know, so first and foremost, you know, the name certainly comes from my love for the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Surfer Girl is one of my favorite songs by them. I mean, yeah, you could go for days on all the songs I love by them, but that one, you know, that one stuck out to me when I was young, and that one has continually like stood up to the test of time for me. Moved to LA, fell in love with a longtime friend of mine who's from LA. We've been dating now for 3 years, and she's kind of my surfer girl as well.
How cool.
And so between the Beach Boys, between the song, and then between the fact that I think I see it in two ways. I see obviously Surfer Girl is just such a beautiful concept. You know, everybody loves this free-spirited, badass woman who just is out there walking on water. I mean, that's an idol to little girls. It's an idol to guys in the lineup surfing alongside her. She's just, you know, an idol. And that to me is just always had this really golden, sunny, beautiful feeling around, you know, just that person. And so I thought it'd be really cool to kind of like nod and shout out all of those folks and those women, but then also at the same time, you know, I feel like 2022 is a fun time, and it's an interesting time in a place where I can be a male frontman of a band and put together a band called Surfer Girl and may confuse a few people. They may be expecting some hot blonde to come out on stage and they get me instead, but you know, like, I think it's a fun time. You know, people I think are shedding labels a little bit and having a good time, and just it's about the vibe. So
yeah, that's very cool.
Thanks.
Was that first Surfer Girl EP written during the pandemic?
Yeah. It was a crossroads of a time. It was definitely an interesting period for the world and for everybody, but definitely for me personally. Air had split up, you know, 5 years prior. The duo that kind of got my foot in the door musically. I was struggling to do solo music for a long time because each song sounded different from the last. Yeah. Which I kind of prided myself
in. Nothing wrong with that, bro.
Nothing wrong. Right. And I was priding myself in that. And to me, I was kind of going through different styles to see what stuck with the audience, but what felt authentic to me. So, you know, I think it was hard to grasp onto for a lot of fans. But long story short, you know, I kind of got to a point where financially I was looking at myself and I said, oh, shit. Maybe it's time to do what mom always says and get a real job and throw in the towel. And not to say I get pressure from my mother. She's very supportive. But, you know.
Yeah. Well, moms are like that.
Yeah, of course. You know, just my best interests.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Know, looking at the track record. Shout out, Mom.
What's Mom's name?
Victoria. She's wonderful.
All right.
But looking at the track record and saying, you know, it's been 5 years trying to do my own thing. You know, I got to get something stable. Or at least get something that's got some hope and some kick behind it.
Well, Surfer Girl seems to be very promising.
It's feeling good, yeah. I mean, so the world stopped. I went back to the East Coast to lay low with the family for a little bit, which I'm very grateful to have been able to do. Was surfing every day through March, April, May. You know, it's snowing in Maine. There you are in the water. And you know, I had been brainstorming with some friends about, you know, kind of, dude, you always made this feel-good reggae, kind of beachy, you know, modern kind of beach pop feel-good stuff. Maybe it's time you try and do that, because the Carter Reeves stuff, I think I was trying to be something, and then it was just like...
I like the Carter Reeves stuff, though.
Thank you. Yeah, me too. A lot of it is really strong. But, well, so, you know... Pandemic hit, was ready to throw in the towel, or potentially, and finally, you know, my my buddy and I were just brainstorming on this. It's like, well, why don't you put together a band? Why don't you make that music that always spoke to you in the first place? So I just started writing songs, making demos, producing them, on my laptop with my guitar and my bass in the New England basement up in Maine, and had 5 great songs that I freaking love. And
they're all hits.
Dude, thank you. Sent them off to Ineffable Records. Radio silence for 6 months.
Really?
Screw you guys. No, I'm kidding. But it was radio silence for quite some time.
That's a little disconcerting.
Well, it was just like, oh, God, I have this really nice body of work. What do I do with it?
Yeah.
And somehow I got a call in August from Adam. Adam Gross.
Shout out to Adam.
I love you, brother. And he just called me and he's like, dude, I don't know how this just came across my desk, but I just heard the EP. It's amazing. We want to support it. We want to put it out. Let's go.
Right.
And that was the start.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a team behind you,
Yeah. I like Ineffable Records. They have great artists.
They're cool. And I love how diverse the roster is. I love how they're branching out, like, genre-wise, but also just like, yeah, they're doing it right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. He's a young guy, and it's really
Adam and Thomas,
unusual,
man. Both
right?
young dudes
Yeah.
and both just crushing it.
Yeah. So, speaking of that EP, let's talk about Hero a bit.
Let's. Come out swinging.
And this is a song that endeared my son to you because
Nice.
he has some political ideas about who wasn't cool a few years ago.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Are we still looking for a hero?
I think so.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, in the context of, Hero is not a sugar-coated song by any means.
Mm-mm.
I wrote that the president don't know shit.
Right.
And I said that loud, and I said it proud, and I still stand by it.
I stand by that too.
I think in time, the funny thing was, and so like on YouTube, I'll get so many comments.
And it
like,
was written in what year? It was 2017, right? Or
yeah, so it was definitely
Yeah.
for me, it was a fuck Trump anthem.
Yeah,
I was pretty
yeah.
pissed off and fed up. And to me, I wholeheartedly believe that both sides of the coin are pretty bad.
Yeah.
Real bad.
Well, yeah, we're still in a bunch of hot water that
to
who
me,
knows if we're ever going to get out of.
To me, it's personal freedoms, it's supporting people, and it's also equitable support for people who, for years, generations, our country was built on supporting some and not others. Can we just even the playing field? That's really what I want to do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the message of the song, was just like, yo, this... I think it was a pointed fuck Trump anthem when it came out, but it's cool because it has lived on and kind of grew a new meaning to me, which is, everybody was... Joe Biden was not my top choice. He was not in my top 15 of choices.
Right. That's why... maybe
so
he's not the hero, but...
He's not the hero.
No,
not at all. He is not, and so it's funny because you make a strong statement like kind of like the president don't know shit, fuck Trump kind of thing, and now everybody comes, how's your buddy Biden doing? Yo, this was not my guy to begin with.
Right.
But what I will say is I'd rather have someone at least seems like fighting for the right direction of humanity and the country and climate change
bro.
Than not. But with all that said, the message of the songs kind of still stands true.
Yeah.
And when I perform it live, I kind of tweak the lyrics a little bit from our president don't know shit to a president can't do shit, and like a president won't do shit, or a president don't know shit. Like to me, it is more about you can't rely on one human to solve all the world's problems and treat everybody fairly, and the system that we have, the system is broken. Let's open our minds. The system we do have is not built in a way that's going to help everybody and listen to everybody's needs. And so to me, this kind of overarching thing of like a president can't be the one to help you. It starts from within. You got to help yourself. You got to help your community. You got to start small. Like you were saying, vote small, try and get someone you like in. Build a strong community. Grow some fucking food. Grow some weed.
Exactly.
Have a good time. And connect on that level. And I think that's where it's going to start from. So to me, the message has more become, don't just cast a vote and rely on this person to fix everything. It really does start from within, and it does start from connecting, on the ground level.
That's cool, bro.
So that's where it's at. Still looking
Yeah.
for a hero for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely.
As I listen to your music, I can't help but think, what is your creative process? Because, you know, as a songwriter, you look at other people's songs, and I really admire your songwriting process. So what is your creative process?
Yeah. I've been producing music for a long time, but I never felt confident that the music I was producing was good enough or, you know, up to snuff until that EP. And I kind of just like said, F it, let's take this leap of faith. You know, we got the label behind us. And that was the first full body of work that I had kind of produced myself. So the process now is, you know, just kind of sit down with a blank slate, be it on a computer, in Logic Pro being my blank slate.
Mine too.
Yeah, or just sit down with a guitar outside somewhere, or sit down with a pad of paper. I don't have one specific way in which it starts, but once it's sparked, I chase it down.
Yeah. Well, I like your songs have like a chorus, a bridge, and verses. You know what I mean? And and each one of them seems to have a hook.
Yeah, thank you.
You know what I mean? It's,
the formula isn't reinventing the wheel by any means. Well, like you were saying, I mean, I believe these are pop songs. You know, I think they're really catchy. They're pretty traditional song structures. You know, I'm not doing anything wild. I'm not reinventing the wheel.
They're genuine. They're not like...
Yeah, no, I appreciate that because...
Contrived.
You can still do an A-B kind of song and have it be good.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and have it be catchy and not too bubblegum or not too this or too that. So I'm kind of happy with the process. I'm kind of happy. I think, you know, eventually I would love to kind of... I'm having a lot more fun with just like instrumental breaks.
Yeah.
You know, let the people breathe. I don't need to be singing from minute one to the end.
Like, surf guitar.
Yeah,
interludes.
Exactly.
You know
So
I mean?
I've been having a lot more fun and letting the soul speak a little more and just kind of going off of feel more so than going off of like what I think is an impactful arrangement, you know? Just have a good time.
I know this question probably should have been asked earlier, but how old were you when you started Air?
Yeah. So like I was saying that, you know, it came out of a 4-piece band.
Right.
Was freshman, sophomore,
18?
junior year of high school. Yeah, we actually, I think it was right before my 17th birthday when we first put music out as Air.
And you guys had some success with that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be here now if it weren't for that.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Creatively, but also, you know, being able to stay in music full time. We were young. It was senior year of high school, and this was like the golden age of YouTube and Facebook and everything, and the music was just blowing up. I remember one day going into the principal's office and requesting the principal for a weekend off, or the Friday going into a weekend off, because we had just gotten booked at a frat at University of South Carolina.
Yep.
Well, so we go in
fraternity party.
Yeah, and it was so funny because
he gave you the day off.
Well, yeah. And he was the type of guy who was like, God, I don't like this, letting my students take a day off to go probably do a whole bunch of debaucherous shit with a bunch of frat bros in the South. Sounds like a mess, but he was also the guy who was all about experience and learning from going out and doing it.
That's cool.
So he was just like, yeah, you're
those kind of
twisting my
principles
arm.
are rare.
Yeah, and he let us go,
Yeah.
and that was the beginning of the end. You know, we just from there on out, it was just graduated high school. We're on the road that June.
Yeah.
seen in years. I know I said it's more than once, but it's time for a goddamn cheers. We'll never get too old. We'll never get too old for this, yeah. And even when I'm a bag of bones, I'll still be getting stoned and kicking back on the low. Why didn't anybody tell me that we about to act out? We about to burn it to the third degree, and you better not pass out. A couple blocks in from the beach, but I think we're going back now to watch the waves that be rolling with faces that glow within chains that we're holding. We'll never get too old. We'll never get too old for this, yeah. And even when I'm a bag of bones, I'll still be getting stoned and kicking back on the low. We'll never get too old. We'll never get too old for this, yeah. And even when I'm a bag of bones, I'll still be getting stoned and kicking back on the low.
I was going to ask you about the transition between Air and Surfer Girl, but I think we kind of went over that a little
Yeah.
bit. So let me ask the next question. Joyride kind of deals with reality and yet has a little bit of an escapist vibe. Can
Yeah.
you talk about Joyride?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think, the whole EP was written at the same time. So, the themes are somewhat similar throughout, but it definitely was this, I had never felt more alive at the time because I was getting to be in the water every day, which, even in California can be a little rare, but every day in the water for like 5 hours a day, and just never felt more and creatively connected with the music. And I would come out of the water and have a new song idea in my head, and just I never felt more at peace. But it was in this juxtaposition of I was also at a crossroads with myself, not knowing professionally where I wanted to go, not exactly knowing what it was that was making me happy at the time. And this was like the whole world had shut down and gone to shit. It was a dark time, but yet I was able to take a lot of moments of peace through it all. And so I almost kind of felt guilty about that, but then at the same time I'm like, you should just get whatever peace you can get. And so Joyride always felt to me as like this song where it was like, you're young, you're lost, you're kind of looking around, but like you're still, the sun's still shining on your back, even if it's like, even if it's a dark time, and I'm still driving the car, to and from the beach. I still got the spliff in my mouth. You kind of given a little perspective that, while you may be all up in your head, or times may be a little tough, there are those little wins throughout that can kind of keep you pushing and keep you moving. So.
Yeah. It's a great song. When I listen to it, it reminds me of when I was young at the beach.
Yeah.
It's and that feeling you get of freedom, and it's a beautiful day, and it's like, forget it.
And
right?
but there's like this there's this aggression behind it too, which is like, let's fucking hustle, and like it's time to work, but at the same time, be grateful for what you got. I like doing that a little bit. A little bright with the dark, happy with the sad. Yeah. You'll always find kind of those bittersweet vibes in my music for sure.
Yeah, and if we're not going to the studio, we're heading south to Mexico.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Where do you like to surf around here, by the way?
I'm lazy. So, I moved to California and had never surfed a Point Break ever. And
Malibu?
then I had never. Well, I went to Sunset for my first time, which is
Sunslow.
Yeah, it's slow. Well, it's slow. It's beautiful. It's this long peeling wave.
Yeah.
Granted, it is crowded and it's kind of dirty, but you know what? I go to Sunset.
Really?
All the time, because if it's hitting like 3 to 4 feet,
easy waves.
Longest rides I've ever ridden, and because I grew up on beach breaks.
How about Malibu?
I like Malibu. First Point's a lot of fun. It's a really friendly crowd.
It used to not be so friendly.
Yeah. I mean, Topanga, I've gotten pushed out the water a couple times, but I think I can hold my own now. For a while there, I just wasn't confident.
Just don't cut off anybody,
ability. Right? Yeah. But now I know what the hell I'm doing. I'm a solid surfer, and so it's like, stay out of everybody's way, know the etiquette, have a good time. That's all that matters. Yeah, Sunset.
That's beautiful.
Though. Catch me at Sunset. I'll be there.
Yeah,
a couple times a week.
So you have solo material under Carter Reeves.
Yeah,
Super Bloom is probably my favorite.
Thank you.
It's kind of
Same.
a whimsical, psychedelic tune. Yeah. Let's talk about that a minute.
Yeah. Well.
And I love the video, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, that was all shot in Maine. So that's a crazy culmination, because for a while there, I was trying to trick myself and tell myself, I'm going to be in the band and put out Surfer Girl music, but at the same time, I'm still going to be putting out solo Carter Reeves music, and we're going to do both at the same time, and everyone's going to be so blown away by how cool that is putting out secret side projects and all this shit. Yeah, that's exhausting. You can't be two artists at once.
Dividing yourself up too much.
And so when I was writing the EP, the Surfer Girl EP, that was also when I wrote Super Bloom, and it was also when I wrote another song called Let It Slide and a song called Tell Me Laurel, which are all the kind of newer Carter Reeves singles.
And Grip. Is that an older one?
That's an older one, but same style. And so Super Bloom is my favorite.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you, I was getting like heavy into kind of like groove based music, drum, just when the drum and the bass lock in, all is well in the world. And that kind of surf tones and psychedelia and all this stuff. So it's funny, because I put out Super Bloom, Tell Me Laurel, and Let It Slide under Carter Reeves. They didn't get much traction. But listening back to them, I go, these would be some pretty rad Surfer Girl songs.
Yeah, especially Super Bloom.
Yeah.
Right? It would fit right in, I think.
Would fit right in. And so, sometimes I look back and say, hey, maybe I should have just held on to that for what I knew was the project, with the hope and the excitement behind it. But
so you're going to put Carter Reeves on hold for him a little bit?
Yeah. I think I was having a bit of an identity crisis. I didn't know what I was doing, and it didn't seem to be working either.
Well, creating is what you were doing.
Yeah. Well, that's thank God. I always look at that. I go,
yeah.
Once you create something, unless you destroy it, you can't uncreate it.
Exactly.
So that right there is a win already.
Yeah. So, Family off Cali Roots Riddim 2021.
Yeah.
Kind of like relates to that whole album.
Yeah.
Right? And what an amazing opportunity to collaborate with freaking Collie Buddz.
It was
how did you get a hold of Colin, and how did that happen?
That was a wild couple weeks, because I got a call from Adam saying, Collie listened to the project, he's a fan, he wants to invite you to be on the Collie, the 2021 Riddim, and like, immediately, and it's produced by Johnny Cosmic, by the way, and Collie, and so immediately I was just like, okay, whoa, that's a big deal. But on top of that, the fact that Collie even took the time to listen and gets down with the project and likes it, I was just like, I grew up listening to Collie as well. You know, he didn't have as strong an impact as some of those other guys, but I was a big fan.
Yeah. I like Collie Buddz.
He's rad.
Yeah.
Well, and so
Colin's a very nice guy also.
He's a fucking sweetheart, man.
Yeah.
He's great. But so it was crazy because it went from, hey, you want to hop on this Riddim? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I actually had a really hard time writing to it at first because I think I wanted to do something so crazy, and then I kind of just let the heart take over a little bit, and that's where we ended up. And I really loved the song, and I sent it to Adam, and he goes, dude, this is super unique. Nobody else is really sounding like this one on it. And Collie heard it, and he called me up, and he was like, this is really dope, man. This is one of my favorites. Thank you. And then, 2 weeks later, I got a call from my booking agent saying, what do you think about doing 3 weeks with Collie Buddz on tour this summer? I said, okay, great. And can I play his song too? Like the song we did together? Like, yeah, of course. It was just like, oh my gosh. So that was kind of the first seal of approval of it, and that one felt really good. That was
That's really cool.
That was a good little moment.
That was really cool,
there.
bro.
I just he sent over the instrumental for 2022, which obviously I can't share, but I'm not invited to be on for 2022. But I listen to the beat and I go, oh shit, people are gonna like this one. He's got a good one coming up for 22.
Cool.
It's rad.
That kind of reminded me of Mike Love's 2020.
Yes, the 2020 one, and that was the first one they did.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mike's killer.
I like Mike Love. You have a new single out with the Hip Abduction called 2.
Yeah.
And how did this collab come about?
This one was fun. This one's got kind of a cool story. I was writing the album and producing it all out as demos kind of over a year and some change, and a lot of them had empty verses, just like empty second verses, empty first verses, in hopes that maybe a feature would come.
Yeah.
And this one just sat empty for a long time. So I started writing up some verses and saying, I'm happy to fill it out, but I still think we can find someone that will put a weird and cool spin on it, because it's definitely got a hip hop vibe to it, definitely in the beat. And so the label put me in touch with David New from the Hip Abduction,
and he's the one that did the verses.
Yeah. And they put me in touch, just, hey, this is a guy in the scene, he kind of is doing this like indie funk folk kind of reggae thing. Like he was on the fringe the same way I think the Surfer Girl project is kind of on the fringe a little bit. And we just kind of we just started texting back and forth, kind of hit it off a little bit. I didn't ask him to get on any music, and it just so happened that he was going to be in Asheville, North Carolina on a camping trip the same time that the band was opening for the Elevators. So in
Asheville?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the salvage station in Asheville. And I'm going to call you out, David. How dare you call me an hour before the show asking for guest list tickets? You're an artist. You know how this works. You got to give me at least 5 days in advance. No, but I gave him shit for that too when he did it. But it's like, so I was like, yeah, I'll see what I can do if I can squeeze you in, I guess. Doors are in an hour. And we get him to the show, and he's there, and he catches the whole set. He's just like, watches the whole set, just having a good time. And then we play. I played too, because I was just freestyling a second verse or just kind of going off of a verse for the second time. And after the show, he goes, what's that last song on the set? I said, that one's 2. Just enough for 2. I'm just finishing it now. This one sounds like it might not be so bad.
That's a Van Nuys one.
And I was like, yeah, that song's, enough for 2, still workshopping it, still want to work on the production, and there's an empty verse. And he was just like, that's the hit. That's a hit. That was my favorite one out of the whole set. I go, thanks, dude. You want to get on it? And he's just like, yeah, you mind if I do some production on it too? It's like, of course. I mean, if you've ever listened to Hip Abduction, David produces all, if not a lot of that.
Yeah, they got some cool tunes.
Yeah, he's a great producer. And so, I sent it to him pretty much just like copied and pasted that first verse area and the second verse. and he stripped it back. He added like, you know, some sub bass to it. He added a new little guitar line on top.
Yeah, the bass is
It's
cool.
funky,
Yeah,
and he
it's
sent
really
it
cool.
back with these breezy kind of reverb, very indied out vocals. And I go, I'm kind of bringing this hip hop, sing rap aggression thing going on, and a high hook, and then comes to his verse, and it kind of strips back, and he's just breezy on it. And I was like, I wanted something weird. I wanted something different, not just like a rap verse or, you know, just kind of a boring verse. And David came through, and
Yeah.
the Hip Abduction hit it with a,
Oh, it's a great song.
yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. I dig it. That's I took a note from the Grateful Dead on that little melody. It's kind of a weird little
Yeah. It's like a dominant seventh
discombobulating,
thing.
weird little
And then
thing.
it goes into the G.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Mixolydian, you got it.
I'm thinking maybe we get to play a song with Carter.
Let's do it. I'm down.
So, right after, and speaking of it, enough for two, I want to thank LA Cannabis for giving us enough for two,
Yeah. And then some.
and then some, and some other twos.
Yeah, baby.
Other collabs in the works?
Yeah, I mean, so the album's done.
Yeah, the album's
Comes out at the end of September,
So there's-
early September.
Wow, I haven't heard any of these songs except for two, right?
That's the first single
Right.
off the album.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm stoked. So the next single that comes out in about 2 weeks, it's called Sunrise, which is also the name of the album, which is,
You heard it here, folks, first.
yes, indeed you did. That one's featuring the Elevators.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Jackson from the Elevators, a fellow New England guy on there. God, he just graced it with his smooth voice. This one's a cool one. It's kind of got like a Jack Johnson vibe. It's a lot more acoustic. It's a lot more textural and organic. Got Swayze on the album. I'm working with Little Stranger on a record.
How cool, man.
I got a good friend of mine, Abby the Nomad, who's an incredible rapper out of Houston. And then we got Marcia from the Skints. I don't know if you're familiar with the Skints, but they're a really killer
I am
reggae, ska, rock
they had
band.
a really cool tune I had about a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, they've been rocking
Excuse
for
me
a
if I
long
haven't been
time.
keeping up with you guys, but I do remember the Skins, and I
Marcia's
have them on
great.
my phone.
She's very forgiving. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
okay. And she and I, you know, we met 8 years ago, and we actually lived together in Brooklyn for a hot minute, and she had just been a friend for a while, and we lost touch for a good bit, and then, you know, when we kind of made the dabble back into the modern reggae space, you know, she was the first person I hit up, just being like, "Yo, tell me about it." My eyes are watering.
Okay.
It's that LA Cannabis Co. Sheesh. I'm seeing things. You know, Marcia, she's incredible, and the Skins are incredible, and you know, I was kind of like, "Yo, dude, I'm working on this project. I'm trying to come back. What do you think?" And she's like, "I really dig it. I think the world has missed you. This space has missed you." And I was like, "You want to get on a song?" She was like, "Yeah, of course." And so she's the homie, and she doesn't really do many features, so I'm obviously honored that she would.
That
hop
is really
on the
cool.
record.
I
Yeah.
can't wait for the record to come out.
And
When does it get released?
September 9th or 10th. It's whatever the weekend right after
Okay.
Labor Day is.
Okay.
Would have been nice to have it pop out in the summer, but you know, I think it's got a good fall vibe. But it's also all of the music was run through the filter of Johnny Cosmic.
Wow.
So I produced everything, but then I took it up to Johnny, and you know, he knows how to take something that sounds pretty good to incredible. So
The new Brian Eno.
dude, for real. I mean, like, without Johnny's touch on this album, it would have been solid.
Yeah.
But he takes it to the next level, and so
Yeah.
we complement each other really well.
That is really cool.
Lucky got to work with Johnny for sure.
So I've got a few quick questions.
Rapid fire.
Yeah. Most memorable gig?
Red Rocks opening up for Dirty Heads and Pepper as Air. Cold. cold summer day, pouring rain. It might have even hailed. Pouring rain up in the Colorado mountains. We were not looking forward to going out on stage in the cold rain. The fans were not happy. They just were ready to see some music. We step out on stage, turns to a drizzle, stops, sun comes out.
Oh my God.
Shining, beautiful, warm evening from there on out. We brought the sunshine. It was crazy.
Right.
It was crazy.
How cool.
Very symbolic. It was nice.
Favorite hip hop artist?
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, I would say Kid Cudi had just such a strong impact on me with his like melodic singing, rapping. So it's got to be Cudi.
Favorite reggae artist? I know it's hard to say favorite, right? But
yeah. I don't know. I mean, honestly, everything that was coming out of Studio One, Coxon's Studio One from
Cox and Dodd.
The early 60s into the early 70s. I think, Freddie McKay, Heptones, just Willie Williams, like all kind of that really old rootsy stuff is definitely some of my favorite. Off top, it's hard to pin one guy down. Or gal down.
Okay. Favorite old school artists? We kind of went through that.
Yeah. Beatles, Beach Boys.
Okay.
The list is very long.
Favorite ineffable artist other than yourself?
Yeah. Uh-oh.
And I don't want to
drawing some
cause
lines
any
here. That's a good one. I gotta say I'm really jacked up on the Hip Abduction right now. I know that sounds.
That's cool.
I'm calling out Friends, but it's either the Hip Abduction or the Elevators.
Yeah.
I think the Elevators are just such a rock solid band. Touring with them, they are tight. They are down to a T. Yet they give each other enough freedom to have a good time always on stage.
And you're going on tour with them, right?
We did last fall.
Oh, you did?
Hopefully that's not the last one, though. I know it won't be. But the Elevators are just tight. Denim, he's the future. I'm really digging his hybrid pop, hip-hop, punk sound. He's killing it. And then the Hip Abduction, that's just the type of music I listen to.
That's cool, bro.
I gave you 3. I'm trying to be
that's cool.
diplomatic.
You can give more. Yeah, exactly. I knew that question was going to maybe cause somebody to get miffed.
Oh, no.
Favorite cannabis strains?
I haven't gotten my hands on Jack Herrera in a long time. And that I grew up, my older brother's friend's older brother always had the
Jack.
good shit. And so I was like in high school smoking Jack, and it's just a lucky guy.
Favorite foods?
Big into kind of, a Middle Eastern kind of just chicken, rice, throw some lamb in there, kebabs, any of that.
That's cool.
Doner, anything.
Baba Ganoush.
Yeah.
Hummus.
Oh my God.
Favorite New England bud?
Favorite New England bud? Damn, I'm not sure I'm too familiar with New England-centric strains.
Right,
Do you have any names? Or
I don't, but I interviewed Roots from, he had a podcast. He stopped because he had a baby. He was from Maine. So, ideal gig. Even though the Red Rock one sounded pretty good.
I would say the bill to me would be, in no particular order, Denim. I want Coffee there. She's incredible. I don't know if you know Tessellated. He's also on Ineffable. Yeah. He's just a killer kind of like pop, rap, dancehall artist from Jamaica. Throw him in there. Throw me in there. And
there we go.
Get the Dirty Heads on there, too.
Yeah.
They have such a rad fan base.
Yeah.
And they have such a cool sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coffee's great, too.
She's insane.
Upcoming gigs?
We got 2 shows in Northern California in June. We've got June 15th in Felton, California. So the Santa Cruz people should come up into the mountains for that. And then, hello. Felton Music Hall, the 15th of June, opening up for the Hip Abduction, doing direct support, which is going to be great. And then we, the next night, are shipping up to San Francisco. We're going to be in Berkeley at the Cornerstone, and that's on the 16th.
At the Cornerstone?
Yeah.
Oh, how cool.
That's a really rad venue. And then, like I was telling you, Chenzo, we're thinking try and do some sort of release party once the album's out. And then, of course, going out for 2 weeks this summer with Ballyhoo and Swayze, which is going to be really rad. So, going on the road this summer for 2 weeks with Swayze and Ballyhoo, and it's going to be a really great time. We're doing the Midwest. And in fact, we're locking in logistics now, and it's looking, unfortunately, like the whole band can't come this summer, which is terrifying.
Uh-oh.
But
if you need a keyboard player.
Thank you. But I have, I think, a really interesting hack. I have a friend who's going to rent me his camper van, like a Dodge ProMaster with a bed in the back. I'm just going to do the whole thing solo.
Oh, how cool,
we're going to have drums come out for sure, I think, and then we're going to do it solo, just guitar, drums, get some bass going.
We'll practice that right now.
Yeah, we
right
can do
after
that.
The interview here.
Exactly. So it's going to be a fun tour. It's going to be a little bit of a fun setup, too.
You going to be playing any of the new songs?
Definitely. Yeah.
How cool.
Yeah.
Where can our audience find you on social media?
Yeah, social media, of course, Instagram being @SurferGirlMusic, which is kind of the same handle for Twitter and Facebook. And on top of that, we've got a Discord server, which is, I'm pretty new to Discord, but it's a really cool chat room and way to connect directly with fans, a little different than Facebook and all the other stuff. So it's called Crane Road Surf Club, which is kind of the home venue of Surfer Girl. It doesn't exist. It's all an imaginary concept, but Surfer Girl headlining Crane Road Surf Club. But then finally, surfergirlmusic.com and all that good stuff.
Cool.
Easy. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. If you're there, we're there. It's that easy.
Okay, so before we wrap up, would you like to shout out to anybody?
Yes, I would. I would love to shout out to my wonderful team, because this is the first time I've had a team in a really long time, and it's true what they say, you cannot do this shit alone. So the team, Brock, Laurel, Adam at Ineffable, Thomas, of course, Patrick at Mint Talent Group, incredible booking agent. Got my man AJ, who's just incredible, just smart people. It's just fucking cool to have an awesome team.
That is cool, bro.
And then, of course, like the fans. Like, it's been crazy to see this project get so much traction so quickly. I think it's people from Air who are circling back and saying, hey, welcome back. But we're making a lot of new fans. I love this scene of music because the fans are so loyal and so loving and just give and give and give. And I'm here to give and give and give too. So we'll both be giving back and forth, and it's just been... It's been cool. It's been overwhelming love. So obviously the fans, of course, because we're just getting started. This is going to be a long time coming. So
yeah. Well, shout out to Mr. Botsani. Brock,
yes.
Thanks a lot.
Indeed.
And
LA Cannabis Co., come on.
Oh yeah, LA
Hooking
Cannabis. We're going to freaking hook it up right here. So I want to thank you for coming down today. It's been a pleasure. And if you when that release party, happens,
You'll
if
be
you
there.
Twist my arm, I'll be there.
We'll get Cali High there easy.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you, Chenzo.
Alrighty. So, Cali High out.
Yeah. If you didn't want a war, you should've never shut the door on me. I ain't fuming anymore, but I badly need to blow off steam. Yeah, we'll place my coffee with some Casamigos, neat, and then we'll go hit the brakes, getting reckless. Second trip to liquor store, gasoline is awful cheap. Cigarette burns from my seat, dirty sneakers on my feet, but my reputation clean, girl. I won't sit here all day waiting for someone new. Yeah, I've been running into everyone except except for you. No matter how far you go, I'ma still roll enough for two. And even if I run low, I'ma still roll enough for you.
I miss your California sunshine, love. I miss your California sunshine, love.
Hey, you know when the summer days come and go, it pulls your heart around, and that's how I feel when I wake up and see you can't be found. I'm still addicted to your loving when you're in my cloud. So leave a note for two, and when you're nearby, feels like that Pacific coast blue, going down and out, chasing the sunshine till we break through. Even though I know you're bad, you give me all the reasons to. Leave a number for you.
I won't sit here all day waiting for someone new. Yeah, and I've been running into everyone except for